Good evening. My name is Levenjai. This is News Review. Thank you for being there. Well, the breaking news. The Independent Electoral Commission has been humiliated as the High Court in Banjul has said that election houses wanton disregard of the law profoundly violated the right of Citizens Alliance leader Dr. Ismaila Ceesay to stand in next month's presidential election. That was the massive judgment there from the High Court today. Dr. Ismaila Ceesay has defeated the IEC in this huge court battle. He is in the studio with me. I will be speaking to him exclusively regarding all of the issues that happened at the court today. Esafal also campaigned in Nyamina as part of his campaign, presidential campaign there. First Lady also campaigned for the president in Tujereng. All of that. Before we get into the show proper, I will quickly bring you the newspapers and what they are saying today. The Standard newspaper, Barrow confident of victory as he returns to rousing welcome. President Anna Barrow has said the rousing welcome he got on his return from rural Gambia Sunday is an indication that Gambians trust him to continue. I think Gambians have spoken loud and clear and that they want to continue with President Barrow. That is the president speaking there. Survey shows declining trust in IEC as the country heads to presidential election on December 4th. An Afro-barometer survey has indicated that most Gambians are mistrustful of the IEC. That doesn't look good. Dabo says UDP is the most inclusive and non-tribal party. UDP leader Hussein Dabo has called on Gambians to remain united and reject all forms of tribal politics, as he described his party as the most inclusive and non-tribal political party in the Gambia. Let's turn our attention to the Point newspaper and see what they are reporting on. One story there is saying NHRC, that's the National Human Rights Commission, urges government to respect court decisions, reacting to the arbitrary arrest of Nene Frere Gomez, a political activist and the country representative of Global Hearts of Medical Mission. The National Human Rights Commission has urged the Gambia government to respect court decisions and orders as required by law, declaring that the practice of arbitrary arrests is unacceptable in a democratic society. We'll leave it at that for newspapers. We'll take a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So the leader of the Citizens Alliance and his party today were in court, and the judgment regarding their case against the Independent Electoral Commission was entered in their favor by top judge Ismaila Ceesay, meaning CA has won the case against the Independent Electoral Commission there. More in this report.
The verdict came at 5:32 p.m. on Tuesday, after the judge has finished going through the facts of the case that started only last week. Judge Ismaila Ceesay ruled that the Independent Electoral Commission violated the Elections Act by failing to deliver the duplicates of Dr. Ismaila Ceesay's rejections to the Citizens Alliance leader before the close of nomination to enable him correct the defects of his nomination.
In the final analysis, I hereby grant the following reliefs. 1. It is declared that the respondent failed, the IEC failed to comply with the provisions and spirit of the Elections Act, Cap 301, laws of the Gambia, in the procedure it adopted in the rejection of the nomination of the first applicant as presidential candidate of the second applicant in the 2021 presidential election of the Republic of the Gambia, scheduled for the 4th of December 2021. 2. It is also hereby declared that the rejection of the first applicant's nomination as the presidential candidate of the second applicant in the circumstance null, void, and of no effect for being in violation of the provisions and spirit of the Elections Act, and therefore tantamount to a denial of the first applicant's constitutional right to contest the 2021 presidential election, as guaranteed under Section 26 of the 1997 Constitution. It is ordered that the applicants are entitled to submit an additional list of names and signatures of registered voters for the Banjul administrative area, having regard to the fact that the first applicant only had notice of the rejection of his nomination, contrary to the spirit of Section 47(3) of the Elections Act, which invariably amounts to a denial of his right to deliver a fresh nomination paper and or cure any defect in his nomination form, which is in consonance with all known rules of fairness, equity, natural justice, as envisaged in Section 43(2) of the Elections Act. 4, is hereby directed that the first applicant, be permitted to submit the additional list of names and signatures of registered voters for the Banjul administrative area, Exhibit IC7, to the returning officer, who shall first be at liberty to satisfy himself or herself that all constitutional or other legal requirements have been met in accordance with Section 46 of the Act. It is only thereafter and upon service of Form 2 of Part A of the 4th schedule that the first applicant shall be at liberty to continue to participate in the election process leading up to the presidential election scheduled for the 4th day of December 2021 in enjoyment of his constitutional right under Section 26 of the 1997 Constitution.
The top judge ordered that Dr. Ismaila Ceesay submit additional signatures to the IEC for the Banjul administrative area and for the IEC to the liberty to vet the signatures. She also ordered that the IEC pay $200,000 to Dr. Sise and CA. Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, top CAN officials and support came out of the courtroom jubilating. The CA leader is happy with the verdict.
Well, I'm relieved. We had always had trust in the process. That is why when the nomination was rejected, we urged our supporters to be calm, that we go to the courts. We had just trust in the justice system. We know that since New Gambia came into being, the only positive is the judiciary. And today, in this landmark ruling, it has showed that it is truly an independent institution.
According to Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, he went to the court not just for himself, but for the future generations.
We have to do a comprehensive assessment of the situation by consulting our base, by consulting our structures at the constituency level, at the ward level, to see whether there is time, to see whether we can go for elections. I cannot decide that now. There will be an emergency meeting immediately after that with our people from the regions to make a comprehensive assessment as to whether we should really...
On his next steps, Dr. Ismaila Ceesay said he would consult with the Citizens Alliance Party's executive.
What we wanted was, this is not about this election, it's about justice. It's about preventing somebody in the future to become a victim of such malpractice and such blatant disregard for the rule of law.
Dr. Ismaila Ceesay did not come to the court alone. He was there with the CA executive officials and supporters of the party.
Happy and excited and vindicated because we knew since the beginning that IEC didn't follow due process. And as you've heard the deliberation from the judge, she explained everything in detail how IEC violated the law and how IEC acted not in good faith, and how IEC actively made sure that we didn't end up being on the ballot box.
Judgments are very fair, and I think justice is served, and this is very, very good in the consolidation of our democracy. Yeah.
The Independent Electoral Commission was presented by lawyer Keba Sanyan.
My reaction.
Verdict by the court. Reaction. Are you disappointed?
I am not disappointed. Not at all.
Are you surprised with the judgment?
No, I'm not.
Why are you not surprised?
Well, you heard what the judge said, not so.
So do you agree with what the judge said, that the IEC acted illegally or violated the Election Act?
I reserve my opinion on that.
What are you going to do now? Are you going to appeal?
I act for a client, and when I have instructions on that, we proceed. I have not discussed, like you can see, I have not discussed with the client. So I cannot say anything on that at this stage.
Thank you.
Does that satisfy you?
Thank you. Well, that's better than nothing.
All right.
He is the director of admin. What is your reaction? You are the director of...
I reserve my opinion in this.
You reserve your opinion. You don't want to say anything about this? Is your case?
Nothing, absolutely. Absolutely nothing. I reserve my opinion. I still reserve my opinion.
You reserve your opinion.
The decision of the High Court on Tuesday has seen the notation held by the Independent Electoral Commission that has no one can question its decision dispelled. But Election House is at liberty to appeal the decision of the High Court. Reporting for the Fatu Network, I am Maymunaba.
Well, campaign for the presidential election is intensifying in all parts of the country. Well, the First Lady has been campaigning for her husband, President Adama Barrow. Yesterday, she was in Tujereng, along with her co-wife, Madam Sajo Mbalo Barrow. More in this.
As the presidential campaign enters the final stretch, President Barrow's wife have been busy campaigning for him in the Kumbus. The First Lady, Madam Fatuba Barrow, along with her co-wife, Madam Sajo Mbalo Barrow, were in Tujereng on Monday. Lady Sajo Mbalo Barrow, speaking at the rally, urged the people of Tujereng to vote for President Barrow.
Nange President Barrow. Tabana hande on lady do kala on jaada do. Atawa golle President Barrow. Ko famdi fo ko famdi. Kombo South ligue President Barrow ini no. Kombo South jam amam famdi fa man do President Barrow do ko jamala jam. Salari han. Niya koros. Ba di o gadi ngaji. Gadi non bijang. Adi bo holaji. Ay bo holonati. Adi ambulance. Ay ambulance kulonati. Fo Kombo South hebi du. Be jambe Kombo South. Awa Kombo South ndabe ngono opposition President Barrow. Wodo wol ma nyata opposition President Barrow de. E lo amu President Barrow kala ko jiddon. President Barrow ma sakuna la ta fefedin. Bo na onon. Wala sakali. Awa bokke President Barrow kan. Wala dal katto kalani President Barrow kala ko. President Barrow ko Gambia mbo yi. Ko President Barrow ko Gambia yi. President Barrow Gambia la je. Fala na de Gambia hay yeso. Ala fe Gambia na ci sambala futum kundole. Gambia na be kala ko be lamdi dum la mu mudum he. President Barrow Gambia no la ni ka fefenda la mo. Bo na onon. Après de ka ka kele. Na welende masa be wonde la mu addi dum. Ako manke ko kata masa tundal wole o dianati de. Kay ko ligge addi dum. Ate masa tundal dia si o manal baddo ko dana. Fala Gambia ya hay yeso. Ala fe Gambia yi wa tanya. Dabiri mbadama do loj boyani dum foti ligare ni akay silo do le janja mamme ya longi la mamme ye do lonja mamme den labi meda wonde Gambia do wo silo ne man do ko Gambia ko jam lawol he do lawol ka sila be sila kan sam nu ko President Barrow adere.
Madam Sajo Mbalo Barrow speaking there in Tujereng, where they were. She was there along with the First Lady, Fatuba Barrow, as the campaign for the presidential election intensifies across the country. Esa Fall was also in the Nyamina area. He campaigned in Nyamina Dankunku, as Sajo Brito reports.
The leader of the turnaround movement, Ismaila Ceesay, Monday made a stop at Nyamina Dankunku in the Central River region as part of his political campaign tour. Fall, who is contesting the forthcoming presidential elections as an independent candidate, wasted no time in calling out the government of Adama Barrow and his predecessor Yahya Jammeh for neglecting the people of Nyamina.
Akoto fato mantara Gambia bang ñaar fukki at ak juroom ñaar 27 years ako sanji mu wanni woro wala nguur gi defuñ fi dara man sakunda man fenke jam.
Barely few months after Parliament's approval of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill of $1.5 billion for the 2021 fiscal year, Ceesay described the country's economy as backward, which he attributed to government's inability to prioritize, citing the $677 million allocated to the Office of the President annually.
Inyanta kamin kumayandi inyanta kamin tambindi ikawalla kutaye walfay ko me nyinela hamna ñun akoy alon ko mi ngi joxe suñ president's office. Akom na president wala office damma. $677 million ipa ano. Ako $677 million wala kata president office sa wosa. Akaya wala for debate dulato. Manele. Aka ko yoku. Alis bobu na for bari torop pour def ko president's office. Lan la ko gaay di jël.
Essa also argued that development must be equitable and fair, taking what seemed to be a dig at the president, who has been accused by his critics of focusing his development projects mainly in his region.
Suñ waré defal Banjul, akonin nantaka Banjul deda, ñu defal Basse, ñantaka Basse deda, war nañu defal Dankunku. Ñantaka Dankunku deda, war nañu defal Choya. Ñantaka Choya deda, war nañu defal Soma. Ñantaka Soma deda la. Why concentrate? Why ni aje tole concentrate daminto? Fa nga xamne fa nga joge. I bota daminto. Ngane nga ekati yow fa nga joge. I ka foko tol bodula pour yow wodula sikade. Bay ñeneen ñi ci dess. Modol bota daminto ye ñaka sijela. Lolu lañu oyé discrimination. Ko ka fole ko fatam fanso discrimination.
The former TRRC lead counsel also touched on systemic corruption in the Gambia, quoting a recent Forbes magazine article where Gambia was ranked as one of the worst countries in Africa to do business. Fall assured his supporters that his government will ensure equal distribution of the country's wealth and that anyone found wanting of corruption would face the full force of the law. For TFN News, Saja Brito.
Thank you and welcome back. So I have Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, the leader of the Citizens Alliance, with me now. Today, that massive judgment from the High Court against the IEC. Doctor, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Lamin.
Would you say that justice has been served in your case?
Indeed. That is why we went to the courts, because we trusted the process and we had the trust in the judiciary. When our nomination was rejected, we sought redress at the courts, and today justice is served.
When you were starting this court war, you have some who said he's wasting his time. Why doesn't he forget about this and go and support someone else? Today, would you say you've been vindicated?
Yes, vindicated, but also it's not about me, Lamin, whether I'm vindicated or not. That's for others to say. It's about showing Gambians that they can always seek redress at the courts whenever they feel that they are wronged. It's for everybody. Yes, I've had people dismiss our claims of going to the courts, that we are wasting our time. But I told my people that it's not about CA. It's not about these elections. It's about ensuring that no other political party becomes a victim of such blatant violation of the rule of law in the future. So we have to do that. So we trust in the process. We believe that we had a strong case. If we didn't believe we had a strong case, we wouldn't have gone to the courts. We believe that we had a strong case, and that is why we went to the courts. And also we had confidence in the justice system, and today it yielded fruit.
So the IEC relied on their power of rejecting your nomination, saying you did not bring adequate signatures from Banjul. But here is the judge saying they did not give you time for you to correct some of the errors that were on your signatures. Can you take us through what exactly was the judge talking about?
What happened was that there is a section called Section 47, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act, which says that if a particular candidate submits nomination papers and there are defects to these nomination papers or they are incomplete, without prejudice, the IEC should notify that candidate before the close of nomination so that person could rectify those defects. The IEC failed to do that in this regard. So that is why, citing another section 49 in the Constitution, section 49, I think 5, which says that we have a right to appeal within 2 days. But if IEC upholds that appeal, that's the end of the road. You cannot, that decision is not subject to a court of law. And that is what we challenged. And that is why, if you listen to the judge very carefully, the first issue she dealt with was the issue of jurisdiction. Because IEC's lawyers raised that issue, whether this court had jurisdiction to hear this case, because section 49 is saying that the IEC decision is final. But then our lawyer was very smart, also knew what he was doing, saying that, look, that section is a decree from 1996. is a decree from 1996 that became null and void in some sense when the Constitution came into force in 1997. All other laws in this country are subordinate to the Constitution. And the Constitution says that in Section 26 that if I feel that my rights are violated, I can get redress at the courts. Who is in this country that is not relying on the Constitution, who can say that the courts don't
So the IEC, in a sense, or in every sense, is not above the law. That is what the judge...
No institution is above the law. The Constitution is supreme law of this land. And any other law that is not in line with the Constitution is repugnant. And that is very clear. That is why when the Attorney General Chambers came to the case as second respondent to join the case, they made it very clear that that Section 49 is problematic. IEC relied on that, thinking that when we send an appeal and they uphold and they reject our appeal, that's the end of the road. But we knew something was wrong because that Section 14 doesn't make sense. I mean, every citizen has a right to get redress in the courts, no matter what. So we tried it, and then the issue was raised at the courts by the IEC's lawyers that the court lacked jurisdiction to hear the case. And the court obviously overruled that decision to say, yes, indeed, the court asserted itself to say it had jurisdiction to hear the case, and also went on to make the ruling that it made today.
So now this is coming, 12 days to election, and the candidates have been busy campaigning. You did not get the chance to do that. Would you say that the IEC has destroyed your campaign?
Well, I wouldn't say destroy. They've really, there are inhibitions, obviously. They've created challenges for us. They've also kind of handicapped a bit our campaign. Remember that the campaigning strategy we employ is something that goes on all the time. We've been campaigning since 2019 because we have a strategy. We do mostly grassroots.
But official
retail. Officially, but elections are not normally won on official campaigning. Elections are won before that. In fact, for us, I think every political party, once this election is over, you start campaigning again. You don't have to wait until the 3 weeks that is given officially. So we think, yes, it's been handicapped. Yes, we will face challenges. Yes, we would have loved to be out there now as we speak, campaigning. But I don't think really I would call it destroying our campaign, because we've been campaigning since 2019.
I mean, you've also missed the presidential debate. That was a debate that you would have loved to be part of, right? And that came.
Yes, I was so much looking forward to that debate. Yes. For me, that would have been the height of this election. I was looking so much forward to it. Unfortunately, I could not attend I could not participate in the debate, but I watched it, and what a good debate it was.
So what are the next steps for you and your party? Now the judge is saying that you should go and submit additional signatures where necessary for the IEC to look at them and let you to continue with your election bid. What are you going to do now at the level of the party?
Well, we are going to discuss at the level of the party. Like I said, we have a party that is truly democratic, and we try to consult as widely as possible within the party. So we'll discuss within the party. We'll have an executive meeting. We just had one today. We could not complete it. We'll have to consult our regional chairpersons, our constituency and ward chairpersons, and invite them to the meeting and assess the entire situation, and then we'll make a decision, and perhaps in the next 1 or 2 days we'll have a press conference to tell Gambians and party members the decision of the party.
Are you really determined on contesting the election in December? Are you determined to do that?
Well, you have to understand one thing.
I know you've put a lot in this. Yes. Sise has parted with his Swedish citizenship and all of that. You've invested so much.
It's not about me. It's about the party. I'm just one person with one vote, with only 2 legs and 2 arms and one brain. I can do so much. Yeah. If we decide to go into the elections now, it means I'll have to take the entire party machinery with me. Are they ready? Are they in the right frame of mind? Do they still have the momentum in them? So I can decide to say, I have the determination, but if they don't have, it's not possible. So I need to first, that's why I say we need to do a comprehensive assessment of the mindset, of the mentality, of the readiness of the base, those who will form the machinery, and see what they think. If they think that they can do it and they're ready, they're fired up, why not? But if they don't, and I'm ready, I'm fired up, I cannot do it alone. The campaign takes, you need resources, you need people, you need capacity, you need to do a whole lot of things. So for me, it's not about me. Forget about the Swedish citizenship, forget about other things. It's about the party itself. Can the party be able to, at this moment, put up a full campaign in 12 days to be able to win the elections? That is something I cannot answer. Even if I can do it, if I think I can do it, but I cannot do it alone. So therefore, I'll have to consult widely within the party.
Will you call for another presidential debate?
Well, if it exists, I'll take part.
You will take part in
Yes.
that. In terms of the 6 candidates that have been campaigning, how do you see their campaign? How do you see their campaign? What are their strengths? What have you noticed that you can come and then capitalize, take advantage of as a way of convincing the voters to vote for you instead of them?
Well, I think they've been doing the right thing. I've been following the campaigns mostly because most of them are online. I think all 6 candidates are doing very well. They are saying the right messages. They are going to the right places. I think they are doing well. For us to come in now, I wouldn't want to reveal our strategy here, what we are going to do.
Yes.
But so far so good. I congratulate all the 6 candidates. They are doing a fantastic job. For me, the most important and the most crucial thing is the peaceful manner in which they are campaigning. Since campaign started, you haven't seen any violence. You haven't seen any issues between the parties. I think that's a good sign. And they've been very civil in their language. There's so much respect among the political party leaders. There's so much respect among the militants. I think that's a good. It goes well for our democracy. So I think they're doing a fantastic job.
Doc, thank you very much for coming and good luck with your campaign. I hope you can get cleared. Hopefully the IEC will clear you now. And then you can proceed with your campaign. The best of luck.
Thank you, Lamit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Ismaila Ceesay there, he was my guest speaking to me there on that development from the High Court in Banjul. Today they won their case against the Independent Electoral Commission, and what this has done, possibly, my party and GMC too may follow suit, may also end up winning their case against the IEC. It would appear that Election House is in big trouble. Thank you for being there. We'll be back tomorrow. Goodbye.